some cases, like there's one particular character in Feast who really made it from the viewpoint and he died. But this is a very short story. It's still a story, I hope, in a sense, and I'm trying not to go in just to provide some advice. The second that will probably be my prologue and epilogue characters who, but even there I try to give them a little story. It's never really famous, my prologue and epilogue characters always die. So they're sort of short stories.
You said that like you're the only ones.
Yeah.
You know better, Turtle. You know better. Okay, here's another question that somebody wants, and there's actually a couple of those that are similar, so we're clearly tapping into a theme that reader interest here. One of the questions says, do present-day events factor into your writing? I'm thinking of things like the fundamentalist forces that have arisen in Westeros, and how much do you have real-life social political trends in mind when you write about things like the rise of the sparrows? So they're both pretty much asking the same thing. How influenced are you by the world around you? Consciously, obviously, all writers are influenced at other levels.
Yeah, I think there's some of that going on. I'm not deliberately setting out to write a political allegory in any case. Tolkien was often accused of writing an allegory of Lord of the Rings that was some sort of statement of World War II or World War I, whose effect on the way ran violently that communicated allegory. And I don't quite share his premise on that point. But there's probably some influence there that you can trace, and some critic or scholar can look at certain events in the book and say, yeah, you may have been influenced by some of that's going on. But I would hate for, I guess science is really pretty butchers and
It's actually kind of the opposite, because everybody liked W, they just didn't want to be charged.
Right. Nobody likes that, yeah.
Okay, well, here's another question, and I have to also read you the addendum as well. This person would like to know, do you mourn any of the characters you killed? And then it says that at the bottom, P.S., you're a genius.
Actually, I do mourn the characters I kill. It's tough to do my characters, particularly. The writer of a character, you really have to live with that. You have to become that in some sense. You have to crawl inside your skin. And some of my characters are like me. Some of my characters are very unlike me. The surface line, but the force drives them. The emotional core is still me reaching inside, which I think all writers do. Yes, we're inspired by our friends and people we read about, histories, biographies. All of that becomes Christian milk. But the only person that we really ever know down deep, all the dreams and the hopes and the fears and the demons in the dark is ourselves, and that's what makes a character come alive. So in some sense, I am all these people, and when I kill one character, I'm killing an aspect of myself, and it is difficult, but I do it. The story has to come first, and I always know it's not me killing the characters, it's the other characters.
Authors don't kill characters, characters kill characters. Because you mentioned that you've been living with these characters, and in fact, you've been living with some of these characters, obviously, for even longer than you've been writing the books, because you started thinking about it ahead of time, which is quite a long stretch now. How much would you say how much of the idea of the story do you think you had when you started? Obviously, not the details.
I had nothing. Nothing. I was writing another novel in those days, but somewhere around when I had no immediate couple players to break. So it looked like I had a few months off before season opened, and I could go into a series I made, so Avalon, put the other one aside, I started writing this one of the things. But that doesn't mean that's necessarily the world. I would be done with this story, but I made a return to write a story set in the same world.
Well, that's worked out well so far. It's been kind of nice because you've been able to do some of this as short fiction. You wouldn't necessarily have to turn it into novel length if you had that.
And I love the world, and I would like so maybe one of those later stories I'll write about. I don't think Duncan A. is going to make an Oscar either. Other than the world, but who knows, maybe some future character in the book. Because I sort of fall in love with Westeros and it's cool. And by the way, I don't do the return of Austin Mars, by the way.
Okay. Okay, I have one last question. This is maybe like a surprise question, so if it bugs you, I don't know, I can ask you instead. But I was going to ask you, since you have had, you said it's like been a wonderful, crazy year this year, and ever since the books have come out, and they proved to be so deservedly popular, I was wondering if you had any moment you'd like to share where you looked around and went, wow, this is really happening. This is amazing.
Yeah, well, there's been about half of them last year. It's been pretty incredible. I mean, just less than a week ago, I was at a San Diego Comic-Con, and I was curating the Game of Thrones panel. And, I didn't go to San Diego Comic-Con. It's a madhouse. There's nothing like it. There are 150,000 people in one room. It's pretty frightening in the comic. So we were in a hall that seated 4,200 people, which may be, I think, the largest audience I've ever spoken to. 7,000 people were in line, so many people lined up in line for 3 or 4 hours and still didn't get to see the panel. I was moderator, so they introduced me first, and they walked out, and there were like 4,200 people screaming and whistling and pounding their shoes and making that strange squealing sound that they're able to and that was pretty startling, Yeah.